Okay, so hi everyone, welcome you all in our course data analysis using RProgramming, and today we are on the session number 9 and we are going to cover about string part. Okay, so why this data structure is data type is very important. Okay, why this theory is very important for you to learn programming, because in our previous sessions what we have seen, like for example, we were storing the numerical data into the vectors, we were storing the numerical data into matrices. Okay, but sometimes when you are having a real world situation, at that time you are not only dealing with the numerical data, right? So for example, if I'm talking you about the situations, for example, in the survey you are having a questionnaire. Okay, so in the questionnaire, what different types of questions you are collecting, like for example, name of the person, address of the person, phone number, and maybe their age, maybe their gender, maybe their qualification, right? Maybe their salary status. So multiple types of information you are capturing. It means that your data is not only capturing a single type of information, your data will have different types of values. Okay, it might be numerical values, it might be categorical values, it might be string values, it might be logical values, it might be the complex values. Okay, so it can be of any type of data values can be, right? So just to hold that particular type of data in a system, okay, or you can say in a R programming, you are having altogether a very different type of data structure, which is called as data frame, right? So before moving to the data frame, firstly we should to understand about how we will deal with our string part, right? So in our previous class, in initial class, I can say, when I was just talking you about data types, over there I touched upon this topic, what exactly data type character called as, okay, and how we are notating that particular concept. Okay, so this part we touched upon, but I did not cover in a much more detailed way over there, because this was just an introduction of data types. But here we will learn that how we will deal with matrix. It means that what are the different types of operation we can perform, depend on the requirement, right? So we will apply such kind of operation into the string, and we will handle the string. Okay, so this is a very important concept before moving to the data frame. Okay, so before starting directly operation part, okay, that how we will perform the operation, before that let me start with discussing about what is character data type. Okay, even though I touched this topic in our previous sessions, but again I will give you a little recap that what exactly the character data type is. Okay, so like in our previous class we have discussed, okay, like a character is nothing but a single unit of information that usually represent a letter, okay, a digit, or a symbol. Like for example, small capital A to capital Z, small small a to small z. Okay, and what are the special symbols are available, like hash, at the rate, dollar, percentage, okay, comma, bracket, full stop, right? And including the digits as well, like 0 to 9, but the digits should always be come into the double quote. Okay, so whatever the things you saw here, like the single unit of information that usually represent a letter, small letters, okay, and the special symbols and digits, all these things are called as character values. Okay, so let me write it over here. So could you please confirm whether my screen is visible? Anyone, please?
Please, not yet.
Okay, is it now?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
perfect.
It
So
is
let
not saying.
yeah. So let me clean the environment. Okay, just for cleaning the environment, you need to remember this particular line of codes. Okay, just for removing the console details. Okay, you please use the cat function. Okay, so these two things should be used just to clean the environment as well as console part. Okay, so as I told, okay, so what is the definition of character? So character is nothing but, okay, uh, basically containing a single unit of information, and that information might be a to z. Okay, in this way, small a to small z. Okay, it might be, and add hash, dollar, all those symbols what you are seeing in your keyboard, okay, those all are called as character values, right? So it is including also the 0 to 9, okay. So this also be a character values if it is coming inside the double quote, right? If it is coming into the double quote, right? So these all things are called as character values, right? Now, so you know that how character is being processed into the machine, okay. But maybe let me again revise you again, okay. So as I told, character value will be handled into the machine, okay, in ASCII coding method, okay, ASCII coding method, okay. So why it is important? Firstly, let me tell you about that part. So as you saw, like for example, if you are having a data values like 12, okay, so how 12 is being stored into the memory, okay. So as I say, here is the a variable and a is storing the value 12, okay. So how a is storing 12 into its memory, okay. And you know that memory is nothing but an electronic device, so it only store the state of current, okay, maybe positive or negative or maybe 0 or 1, okay. In that way you are representing. So what it is doing basically, so firstly it is converting this into the binary format, okay, which is called as 1010 format, okay. So if you don't know about how to convert these things to the binary, okay, maybe you can personally ping me. I'll tell you about that how you are converting this part, okay. So once you are converting this digits into the binary format, and that binary value will be stored into the memory, right? So here you are having 12, or you can say numerical values, then only you can able to convert this into the ASCII value, into the binary values. But since these are nothing, these are not a numeric values, these are simple a character values, then character values cannot be converted into the binary values easily, okay. How it is getting converted? It is using the concept of ASCII encoding scheme, okay. So ASCII coding scheme is basically a scheme where each and every character values has their own meaning, okay, has their own mathematical value, okay. So a is having their own mathematical value, let's say 94. Z is having their own mathematical value, okay. Small a is having own mathematical value, okay. Maybe you can try google it by typing ASCII character coding, okay. So you will find that each and every special symbols or every character values is having their own mathematical value, and that mathematical value will be converted into the binary format and being stored into the memory, okay. So this is the way how this character values can be stored into the memory, right? Now, how you will create a character values, okay, into the memory, right? So for example, if you are having creating a variable like maybe char, okay, maybe char is there, and if you wanted to store a numeric character value into the memory, then you need to specify double quote or single quote, okay, maybe small a, or also you can use single quote as well, okay. So there is a difference between there is a different requirements are there why we are not using single quote and double quote, okay, every time, or this is interchangeable. This is because there is a one type of thing which is called as retractions, okay. So this is basically like for example, if you are having this type of words contractions, okay. So like for example, don't, okay, don't. So don't cannot be created using the single quote, okay. Why this is not being created using the single quote? Because there is a single quote is coming in between. This is called as contractions, okay. So if you are having a contractions into any of the string values, okay, so this cannot be handled using the single quote. So for these things you need to use the double quote, okay, and using the double quote you need to specify a particular string part, okay. Maybe in that way you can specify, right? So sometimes you can use double quote, but if you are having a single quote, if you are having a contractions into the string, then at that time the single quote should not be used, because since due to the contractions machine will be confused that which is the end colon, okay. So this will be confused with this particular concept that like for example, here if I will apply it single quote, okay, so it will consider this quote as a closing quote, okay. So it will confuse, and this will left it out this particular thing, okay, and this will give us the error. That is why we need to just keep this thing into the double quote, okay, and you need to specify the contraction always into the double quote. So creating a character values or a string values in a double quote is most useful thing, okay. So this is all about character data type. Okay, also you can check, like for example, maybe you can check using the mode function. Okay, you can check this thing into the mode function, like for example mode and char. Okay, so maybe I can run it, quickly run it. See here, in the mode it is telling me that it is a character value. Similarly, I can use the type of function, and I can specify the character value over here, and you can see here it is giving me character. It means that this character, this char variable is nothing but it is holding the values of character in nature, right? So this is all about character thing and how string will be handled into the machine. Okay, now up to this point, anyone have any doubt or any question? Any confusion you are having? Anyone? Okay, okay, I'm considering the silence as no. Okay, perfect. So let me start with discussing you about some functions. What are the different kind of operations we can perform into our character handling part? Okay, so the first operation what we can perform is concatenation. Okay, concatenation. Okay, so concatenation means just to combine two or multiple strings together. Okay, so like for example, suppose in a, okay, let's suppose we are having a variable called a, and here I have I. Okay, and we have another variable which is storing the value love. Okay, and here we are having another variable which is storing, let's say r, and here we are having another variable where we are having programming. Okay, so let's suppose you are having this type of variables with you. Okay, now you can combine all those things together. Okay, how you can combine? There is a very good function available which is called as paste function. Okay, so in the paste function, what functionality it is basically providing? So you can use all the variables together, a, b, c, and d. Okay, right? And you can use the separator. Okay, sep is a command. Okay, sep is a parameter in this particular function. You need to specify the separator, and separator might be anything. Maybe it's a space. Okay, so what it will do, it will just separate all those strings together. Okay, it is combine all those strings together, and it will form a bigger string. Okay, let me use this and run it. See here, it is giving me message I love R programming. Okay, so what it is doing basically, there is a four variables are there which is holding four different values. Okay, using the paste function, what I did, I just combine all those things together and find a big string, right? So here separator is doing what? Separator is just helping me out that how all these string will be combined. So it is telling me that the first value will be combined with second value using the one space character. Okay, one space character, another value will combine with the another value with using the space character, right? So maybe I can change this and maybe reduce the space character over here, and now you can see without these all things are combined together without any space, right? So separator is basically helping you out to give the specific type of separator, right? Maybe I can give a comma over here, right? So it will separate, it will combine all those separate strings together using the comma separated, right? So I comma love comma r comma programming. Okay, in that way it will combine it, right? Similarly, we have paste zero function, right? So paste zero function is very default function. It is by default giving the string combined with the without space, right? So if you specify a, b, c, and d, no need to specify over here separator command. Okay, it will by default giving you the value without separation of any without any separation. It will combine all those things together without any space. Okay, so these are the two very good function you need to remember, because this is a very useful function and we will use this function during the data preparation activities in a very huge way. Okay, perfect. Now let me tell you about cat function. Yeah, please
This is
go ahead.
very interesting.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Abel, so if I instead of using paste zero, I decided to use just paste, right? And I put A B C D without putting any separator, and then I just leave it like that. What will be the outcome?
In this way you are telling about?
Yes, and I decide to delete. Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
yes.
it will give by default it's a space character, right? That is actually creating the difference between these two, right? So the default separator is here space character, okay, and here the
Hmm.
default separator is used as a without character, right? So that is the only difference these two function is serving.
So paste zero means it should just construct a sentence, right? Combine all of them, giving a space. But paste zero means it should just join them together without
Yes,
putting up any space,
yes,
right?
yes, yes,
Okay,
yes, yes. Okay,
right.
perfect.
Thank you.
Now, yeah, let me tell you about cat function. Okay. So cat function is also sometimes used for combining the things, okay, and this is basically a this is a function which actually playing a role in a multiple ways, okay. So this is also used for printing the things, okay. This is also being used for printing the things. Like for example, suppose if you are having cat, okay, so cat function is there, and in a double quote, let's suppose I just write hello all, okay. So it will print this, right? It will use for printing the things, and this print and the print command what we use, okay. So like for example print, and I can use hello R, okay. So here in those two commands like cat and print, okay, both are used for printing the things. But here what the print is there, this is simple printing, okay. What exactly we are taking out of the print, right? But this printing is different printing, and this print function is actually giving us the output which can be again useful for any other functions as well, okay. But this cat is just giving us a return back a string, okay, which cannot be used any other functions, okay, because this is only in a printable format, okay. So cat is playing multiple role, okay. So cat is also used for concatenating the string. Along with that, it is used for printing the strings as well, okay. So let me combine all those strings together using the cat function, right? So I use the cat. I will specify the variable a, b, c, and d, and you can see here this is combining the results. Okay, this is combining all those variables a, b, c, and d, right? And it is combining and printing the variables. Okay, using the space separated. Okay, this is only combining the values using the space separator until you are not specifying, right? So maybe you can specify like for example separator over here sep is equal to, and in the sep command maybe you can specify dash, okay. So it will just combine all those strings, okay, all those variables in a dash dash separator, right? So this is a combination function, but the only thing you are seeing the difference between paste and paste zero, paste and paste zero, and cat, okay. So what are the major difference you are seeing? So you are seeing the difference like this is giving me the output in a very useful way. Useful way means I can use directly this string to any other operations, okay. Why? Because this string is by default coming into the double quote, and you know that if anything is coming into the double quote format, okay, this is nothing but a string, okay, and it can be used in our programming activities just by considering this as a string. But if you are printing anything into this particular format without any double quote, okay, this is a string but not a string which can be used into the programming further, okay. That is why this is a very gentle difference between paste command, print command, and cat command. The cat command is only giving you the output which is only used for printing purpose, right? So here we are not using for any other purpose, but for print function and paste function giving us the output which is in the double quote, okay, and it can be used for other purpose as well, okay. I hope it is clear to everyone, okay. So let me tell you about another kind of things, okay. Another kind of things is counting the character, okay. Sometimes this is also very important function, okay, just to count the character values, okay. So like for example, suppose if you are having a string, okay, let me create a string called str, okay, and in this I will write here sky is endless, okay. Sky is endless, right? So let's say I just ran it, right? I just ran it, and yeah, and let me I wanted to just calculate the character total number of characters over here, okay. How many characters are here, right? So I can use a function called as nchar, okay. Nchar is a basically function which is actually calculating the total number of character is being utilized into this particular string. Okay, so I will use nchar and I will pass the string variable over there. I am just storing this particular data, right? So you can see here there is a 14 characters are being used into this particular string. Okay, 3 and there is a one space 4, 4 to 6, one space 6 and 7, 7 3 10 and 10 for 14. Okay, now since this basically function is using the space character as well. Okay, but this is a homework for you. Maybe you can go and search a function or maybe the method how you will count the word. Okay, count the only alphabets, or you can say only string. Okay, or sorry, only character without space, right? So you need to calculate, like for example in this example, how many total number of characters are there except space. We are having only 12 character, but it is just counting the two space as well. That is why it is giving me 14. So you need to search a function or develop a method. Based on that, you can only count the alphabets, digits, or any special symbols except the space character. Okay, so this is the way how you can calculate the number of characters. Okay, number of characters available into this particular string. Okay, similarly, let's suppose maybe like for example there's a very good function available also called as length. Okay, so maybe I can also show you the how length is being used. Okay, so here there is a only one string is there, right? So here there is a only one string, because whatever the things you are writing inside the double quote, this will be treated as a single string. Okay, so this is of length 1. Okay, but how many characters are there into this particular string is there is a 14 character, but this is only one string, so length will give you the value as 1. Okay, so in that way you will handle this part. Now another thing, how to handle a big string or string with multiple line. Right, so let's suppose if you are having a very maybe if you are in a survey, you have just left a open field. Okay, and people are just entering maybe some details about that, maybe their illness or maybe their water and sanitation issues. Okay, maybe you are just left a space to them just to fill out. Okay, so they can fill the values up to multiple lines, or maybe the string in a very large number of character values, right? So how you will handle or how you will create these things into our R part. Okay, so here we will use a very good kind of a escape sequence character called as in backslash n. Okay, backslash n, right? So backslash n is basically used for storing the string in a multiple lines. Okay, so means whenever you are having a larger string, you need to just separate it out, maybe break the string. Okay, in a smaller chunk and store this string into multiple lines. Okay, let me tell you how you will utilize this slash n. Okay, so for example I will create a string like for example in this way: I love R programming because it is freely available and easy to access. Okay, right? This is a bigger string. Let's suppose I wanted to store this string, okay, in a two lines. So what I will do here, I will use the slash n over here, and you can see, right? So if I will write over str, or sorry, I will use the cat. Okay, a cat and str, right? So you will see here this is broken into two lines. Okay, I love R programming because it is freely available. So how this is coming into the second line? So here I just use as a page break. Okay, so page break can be done using the sorry, line break can be done using the slash n, and this slash n is nothing but called as escape sequence. Okay, escape sequence, right? So escape sequence can be used to just to break this particular bigger string into multiple lines. So like here for example I use only one slash n, that is why I just break this particular this line will come, and until this slash n will be not met. Once this slash n will be met, then automatically this will be broken. Okay, broken, and this will be going to the next line. And you can see over here I love R programming because Okay, and let me run it again. You can see I love R programming because, and there just lesson is coming, it means that the cursor will move to the second line, and in the second line it is writing that it is freely available and easy to access. Okay, so in that way you will store all those values what the user will enter freely into your input box. Okay, so this is the way how you will handle the bigger kind of strings. Okay, clear? Any doubt up to this point? Anyone?
Okay.
Okay, so case handling. Okay, so case handling, what it mean by case handling? So if you remember in our previous classes, I was just telling you that R is a case sensitive programming language. R is a case sensitive programming, right? So what it mean by case sensitivity? Okay, so as I told, so like case sensitivity means when you are having a variable, let's suppose age, age, and this age. Okay, so all age are their literal meaning is nothing but age. Okay, so they are having a literal meaning very same, but right, but their variable, what the variable it is used for, this will be in a very different way. Okay, so like for example, I'm storing the age as 23 and age as 34, and maybe age as 78, and maybe age as 12 years, right? So all four are different ages. Okay, so it means that when you are having a very lowercase letters, okay, this is of different variable name. Okay, when you are having in a camel notation, okay, means the first letter is in the bigger format, and the rest of the letters in the smaller case. Okay, so this is kind of storing as a different type of variables. This is of different type of variables, and this is of different type of variable. Okay, so that is these things is why, because R is a case sensitive programming language. Sometimes maybe you can deal some of the programming language over there which language is not case sensitive. At that time all four variables, what the things you are seeing here, all are same. Okay, this will not distinguish at all to those particular variables. Okay, but here in R, since R is a case sensitivity programming language, so this will be treated as a differently, right? So this is called as case sensitivity. Now, so when you are dealing with your string part, right, so you can also handle the case sensitivity part. Okay, you can handle the case. So like for example, suppose you are having a string, okay, and over there you write like for example, I like the mango. Okay, let's suppose this is being written over there, right? I also is in the small case letter, right? And now you had this particular string. Okay, someone maybe in the form, someone just fill this type of values, right? But you want the values in the uppercase letter. Okay, in the uppercase letter, like for example, you want like I like the mango, right? Let's suppose you want this string into this way. It means that either you need to convert all those things into this format, or you need to delete it and write it again into this format. Okay, but writing and deleting is not a easy process. Okay, so you need to learn a new command, okay, which will deal with the case sensitivity part. Okay, so we are having two basic very important function which is called as to lower, okay, and we are having to upper. Okay, to upper. So to lower function is basically just converting values into lower case. Okay, lower case. Similarly, to upper, converting the values into uppercase. Okay, so what it means by converting the values into the lower case, it means that whatever the values are, okay, just to convert all those values into the smaller case. Like for example, let me take an example, like str is there. Okay, and here you are having, let's suppose today is our class. Okay, let's suppose you are having this example, and over here you are seeing in today we are having T capital, R is R capital, class in class C is capital. Okay, but you want all those strings in a smaller case letter, right? So what you will do, you will use a function called toLower. Okay, and in the toLower function you will just pass this particular string name, okay, toLower in bracket str. Okay, and if you run it, then you can see over here right? So all those character which is being specified into this particular string, this is being converted into small case letters, right? It means that all is coming into the smaller case, right? Similarly, if you are having any case, let's say, let me take an example. Okay, so here I like mangoes. Okay, let's suppose you are having this type of a string, right? But you wanted to convert this particular string into lowercase letters, right? Sorry, maybe, sorry, I just made a mistake over here, maybe to upper, right? So you are having a smaller case letter, I like mangoes. Okay, so this is the example I have. Now I will convert this smaller case string into uppercase. What I need to write, I will use a function called toUpper. In this toUpper function I will pass this particular variable, and you can see over here automatically this small things will be converted into the uppercase letter, right? So using the two lower functions, okay, you can convert any kind of string into the lower case, and using the toUpper function you can convert any type of string into the uppercase letter, right? Just to save your time or your memory, okay, mind, you can learn a very simple command which is called as case fold. Okay, so case fold is basically a function, okay, which is just taking the variable, okay, and here it is called as upper is equal to true and false. Okay, this is the syntax of case fold function. Okay, so what is basically doing here, we need no need to specify two lower, two upper, no need to specify two functions. You can use only one function, case fold, and by converting by using interchangeably like true and false, right? So you can convert the string into the uppercase and lowercase letters. So like for example, here you are having this string, and this string is having the values as zero, sorry, in the lowercase letter, right? So all the value in the lowercase letter, right? So now you can convert those values into the uppercase letter. How? Just to specify here the string and just make it upper is equal to true. Okay, so when you use upper is equal to true, then it will convert this smaller case string into the uppercase letter, right? Similarly, if you make it upper is equal to false, so it will just keep as it is how the string is. Okay, so let's suppose you are having this type of a string, okay, and this string is having the values, some of the values in the uppercase letter, some of the values into the lowercase letter. So if you use this string over here, okay, and you can specify upper is equal to false, it means that it will convert all those uppercase letters, okay, into the smaller case letter. You can see here previously it was in capital, it was in capital, it was in capital, now everything is in the small case letter. Okay, so in that way you can handle this particular case folding part. Okay, you can just convert the case as per your requirement. Okay, it is clear up to this point? Anyone have any doubt? Everything is clear? Please confirm.
Okay.
I think my mind is clear.
Okay,
I think
perfect.
it's clear.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah. Now another function is called as substring. Okay, substring. So like for example, dividing the big string into some small strings. Okay, dividing the big string into smaller strings. Okay, so now let's suppose we are having a bigger string. Okay, and maybe let me write a string first and tell you about that. Let's suppose I love R programming. Okay, let's suppose we are having this string. Okay, we are having this string, right? Now I wanted to break this string into multiple components, right? So I have two types of functions. Okay, the first is called as substring function. Okay, so one is called as substring function, substring, right? And in this string what we need to pass, you can see over here the syntax is coming like what the string is. Let's suppose variable is there, okay, and you need to specify the start, okay, and you need to specify the stop. Okay, so it will just break the string up to the point which you want, okay, and up to the point till which you want again. Okay, so like for example, suppose maybe I can use this particular substring function, okay, and I wanted to take out I from this particular string, or maybe love from this particular string. Okay, so I will specify love is starting from 1 2, love is starting from third position, and it will last up to third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Okay, it will move to the sixth position, right? So I will use substring over here, substring, and variable is nothing but str. Okay, in this particular bigger string is, so I will use start. Okay, start is equal to 3 and stop is equal to 6. Okay, so you can see here. Okay, sorry, it is giving me some message. Okay, I guess I just used it wrong method. It is just first and last. Sorry, it's not in start. Sorry about that. Okay, it is first and last. Okay, so these are the two parameters, not first and start and stop. Okay, so I will use here the first, and I will use here the last, right? So you can see here love is being extracted from this particular string. Okay, now you can do this activities using another function which is called as substr function. Okay, I'll tell you the difference after that. Okay, we are having substr function, right? So substr function is telling you about just to pass the string name, and you need to pass the start, you need to pass the stop. Okay, and it will break the string in, or you can say just make a substring from the bigger string. Okay, using this particular start and stop part. So substr is there, right? And substr we need to pass the str. Okay, what the string I have. So let's suppose I have this particular string, and over here I will specify start. Okay, start is equal to, maybe I will specify 3. Okay, and stop I will specify 6. Okay, now it will just take a substring love from this particular bigger string. Okay, so these are the two very important function what you can utilize. Okay, just to make a substring from the bigger string. Okay, very important function it is. Okay, and in the real life examples this will be very useful functions. Okay, now removing the space from the string. Okay, so as I given you a homework. Okay, so forgetting about those homework, that homework, please do your homework. Okay, I'll tell you about that part. Like for example, uh, here what the homework I had given, maybe just to count the total number of character into this except this space character. Okay, so I'm just contradicting with telling you about this topic, which is just removing the space from the string. Okay, removing space or space from the string, right? So like for example you are just specify. Okay, so you had specify like maybe there is a space, maybe I can create a variable like str, and here I have maybe, okay, let's suppose this is the variable I had created. Okay, so here over here I have only 5 letters. Okay, I have only 5 letters but I just given a big space in starting. Okay, and big space in trailing. Okay, so in both side I have big space, right? So how you will remove the space? Okay, how you can remove the space from this particular string? Okay, so very good function available which is called as trim. Okay, trim. So trim function is basically used just to remove the space. Okay, trim ws. So trim ws is basically kind of a telling you the syntax as trim ws, and you need to pass the particular string, and you need to specify which is equal to statement. Okay, which is equal to is basically telling you about, okay, which is equal to is basically telling you about that which side of space you wanted to remove for. Okay, so like for example here I just given a space in before, and I just given a space into after. So I have a space into both the side, so I will use which is equal to both. Suppose sometimes you are having space into the left side. Okay, then you can remove the space from the left side only, then you need to specify trim ws and which is equal to left. Similarly, sometimes you are having space into the right side, then you, in the which statement you need to specify right. So like for example here in this particular string, okay, I will pass the string first, and I will use the which function. Okay, sorry, I will use the which parameter. Okay, and in the which parameter we are having three values. First is left, second is right, third is both. So if you are having space into the left side, use left over here. If you are having space into right side, use right over here. But if you are having a space into both the side, okay, in the left and right, at that time you need to specify both over here, right? So both will be specified in this way, right? So you can see over here, so this particular bigger string, okay, this bigger string, okay, this bigger string, where much more space is there, this is being truncated, okay, this all the space is being truncated, and only the clear string is being left over here, okay, no space is being here, okay. So how this is the way how you can remove all the space, okay. Now again a homework for you, okay, again a homework for you. So what the homework you will do, maybe I can create a string over here. So let's say this string is uh, maybe str, okay, and in the str you are having I love R programming. Let's say I have this string, okay, and now I wanted to create kind of remove the space, and I wanted to create the string into this way, okay, without any space, okay, space no need, no space is required into middle of this particular string, okay. So trim ws function is basically removing the space into before and after, okay, but it is not removing the space which is existing into in between of the string, okay. So what is the function, or how you will remove this particular space which is existing into or you can say within the string, okay. So this is the function you need to remember. Now checking whether a particular string is existing into a bigger string or not, okay. So like for example, you are having sometimes like for example you are applying a filter condition, okay. Search, sometimes you are applying a kind of you are checking your results, okay, into the PDF file, and you are just using a search bar, and in the search bar option you are just typing your roll number or maybe enrollment number, and you are clicking enter, and you are fetching the results with your roll number, right? So how it is being done, okay. So where basically the concept of matching the string is applying, okay. So what the small string you had, okay, so you will start searching this small string into the bigger string, and you are checking whether the smaller string is existing into the bigger string or not, okay. So this is how this function will be work, okay. So how this function is working, so there is a not a function, I can say this is a basically operator, okay. So this operator basically help you out just to find whether a string is existing into bigger string or not, okay. So let me take an example. Str, and maybe I'll just take example here, maybe ATM balance, or maybe bank, okay. Let's say three strings are here, okay. Now I wanted to check whether bank is existing into this string or not, okay. Let's say this is a very huge data, and you wanted to check from this particular data whether bank is existing into this or not, okay. So I can use this particular function, okay, sorry, okay. So I was using here uh, bank, and this percentage in into str, okay, and it will tell me true, okay. So it is telling me true, it means that bank is existing into this particular string, okay. So percentage in percentage is basically an operator which is used to check whether a smaller string is existing into the string vector, okay. Perfect, it is fine. Now
Yes.
okay, so now finding pattern in string, okay. So location, the location, and right now like for example it is only telling me about whether the string is existing into this or not, okay. but how you can check at which place this particular string is existing. Okay, at which place this particular string is existing. Okay, so maybe again let me create another string. Okay, so and tell you about the situation str2. So str2 is basically having the value like near, balance, ATM. Okay, we are having this, and I wanted to check whether a is existing into this or not. Okay, first I wanted to check a is existing into this or not, and if it is existing a, okay, then at which position. Okay, so I have to use a function which is called as grepl. Okay, grepl, grep and grepl, basically two functions are there. Okay, so basically first I will tell you about grep function, and after that I will tell you about grepl function, right? So only there is a very small difference between those two things are. Okay, so I will use firstly the grep function, and in the grep function what we need to pass, we need to pass a pattern, and we need to pass a string. Okay, in which string this pattern need to be searched. Okay, this part, and ignore dot case will be used. Okay, so I will use here like for example pattern is a, and in which string this need to search, str2. Okay, let's see here, right? So it is telling me, okay, so like for example a is there. Okay, it is telling me that in this particular string one time a is coming. Okay, similarly in this particular string two times a is coming. Okay, this function like grep function is telling me about that a smaller string is existing into the bigger string for sure, but it is also telling me that how many times this particular string is repeating. Okay, so like for example I just created a small character value, and this small character value is existing into this particular string two times. Okay, in the first string it is existing one time, and in the second string it is existing two times. Okay, that is the message it is giving me, right? So in that way I am able to find out that a particular string small string is existing into the bigger string, right? And how many times this is existing, right? Now let me tell you about another function which is called as grepl. Okay, grepl function. So grepl function is also being utilized exactly similar way. Okay, but it is only giving you that in which string this is matching and in which string this is not available, right? So here you can see here true, true, false is coming. Okay, it is telling you that in the first two string like in the near and the balance this a is existing, and in the ATM a is not there. Okay, but you can see here in the ATM a is also there. Okay, a is also there, but this a is not been read by this particular command. Why? Because there is a one more parameter is there which is called as ignore dot case. Okay, ignore dot case is a function parameter. Okay, function parameter which is being used just to ignore the case. Okay, so if I will ignore the case, right, ignore the case is equal to true. Okay, then it will ignore the case, and now see here. Okay, this is telling me that in the first position, okay, and the second position and the third position, everywhere, okay, everywhere we are having a. Okay, we are having a, right? Similarly if I will use this particular part, ignore dot case is equal to true over here, it will again start giving me true, true, true. Okay, now it is finding either small case a, either uppercase a. Okay, so in that way you will perform the search operation from the bigger string using the smaller string. Okay, so this is all about kind of a basic details of a string. Okay, string functions. There are so many functions are there. Okay, so I will cover those functions in our coming classes. Okay, because this topic is a really very huge topic, but what the topic I had covered today, this is little bit sufficient in terms of that just to learn another data structure which is called as data frame. So in tomorrow's class we will move ahead for covering the data frame part. Okay, so again what the homework I am giving to you, please do and complete and share onto the WhatsApp channel. Okay, so that I can understand you guys are just revising those concepts. After again what you need to do, you need to reproduce all those codes what I am doing over here in front of you. Okay, maybe you can again download your videos and just check line by line each code and just reproduce all code into your system and machine as well, so that what the concept I am telling you here, it will be clear in your mind too. Okay, so this is all about today's class. Maybe we can connect in our next session. And next session will be on Monday. Okay, please do remember, I will place this message into the WhatsApp channel as well. Tomorrow's from today onwards, we will have our classes on to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay, so this is the information I will release into the WhatsApp channel as well. Okay, so let's meet on to the Monday, and we will cover a new theory which is called as data frame. Okay, so anyone have any question up to this point? Any last minute question?
Yes, please. My question is not necessarily about today's class, but it's about a problem I'm facing with our software. Previously, whenever we are having a class like this, I try to open my software and also practice what we are doing. But since yesterday, I tried opening and it doesn't open. Like I see some